your Hall of Fame recognition, and I think that's really important. Because now you are the role models for these young athletes, and as soon as they are done cleaning up and helping our food service department, then we sure hope they're going to come in here and hear some powerful words from some great people that I'm sure will inspire them and be our future Hall of Famers. To be in consideration, you have to be out of school for 10 years. You know, it's real easy to remember the last local hero, but it's pretty nice when you remember those from 70 years ago, like Robert C. Hoisington. That was pretty special when I got a call, and as they described Robert, we knew that here's one that we had missed. I wasn't aware. I heard of Robert C. Hoisington because he's legendary in the track annals, but I didn't know he was a Pond Islander. So that connection, good discovery. All right, without any further ado, we're going to get into the program, and the way we do this is we've got a person that is selected by the Hall of Famer to introduce him, and then we ask that our Hall of Fame person speaks as they are inducted. So our first speaker for Robert C. Hoisington is Ken Carr. Ken?
Runners for Robert Hoisington at Southwest High School in 1973. I was a new kid in town that time as a junior. My dad was in the military. I came from Pennsylvania. And I was a trackman, as a sprinter and a hurdler. Never ran cross country in my life, except maybe running from the herds in Philly, going to a movie one time. But I met Mr. Robert Hoisington, and I tagged along one day when I had a practice going to Lake Calhoun. So I ran behind these runners, and I met a nice young man named John Czar, who was the captain at that time. And that was 1972, fall I believe it was. And I ran once around the lake with John Czar, and I became a part of a team. I was there for 1 week, practice, and Bob threw me in a JV race. And John Czar came up to me and he says to me, he said, "Ken, win this. Don't go out, just be right behind these guys like you do with me, and let them pace it, and I'll kick these guys." And that's what I did, basically. The coach put a towel on my head, sweatshirt. Told my parents to drive me to the medical so I can get a physical and stuff like that. So I became a part of my team from that point. I enjoyed all these years with Robert Hoisington through high school, through winning a 5-year state champ. I have his book right here, and you guys can see. Our first workout, we did 24 400-yard dash in a row. And we averaged 74 seconds, at least that's what the manual said. I think we averaged about 67 seconds, really. But we ran workouts, 2 workouts, one in the morning and one after high school. And he said, if you want to make the team, varsity team, you got to run 1,000 miles in the summertime. So after being 1 year with him in my junior year as a JV, I decided I was going to run cross country, be middle distance. I ran 1,000 miles. I cut off 2.5 minutes off my time. I ran 15:38 my senior year, a month before state meet. I was proud to run Robert Hoisington. All these years, he didn't even know I used to run. I tell him, every kid in the state of Minnesota, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Oregon, Colorado, all these coaches know Robert Hoisington. These college courts. I tell the runners about him, the young kids, and they just shake their heads and say, no way, nobody runs that many miles. We ran 60 to 70 to 90 miles a week under Robert Hoisington as a high school kid. He got us ready for college as students. I had math with him. He was an excellent instructor, a good father figure, a good coach, all the way down the line. And every students he's come around, athletes over the years, from the Big Ten race, state meets, and track and cross country, he's been a good friend to most of all the kids in the state of Minnesota. Loves him. At least the people that I've met over the last 20-some years. State of Minnesota, last 30, 40 years for that matter. He's been a big inspiration about me, about all his runners. He preaches, and he believes what he preaches. He told us to keep drug-free, growing up, no smoking, no drinking. Leave the girls alone until you get married. He was a good father figure. I'm so proud to be here, present Robert Hoisington in the Hall of Fame. I'm proud to be here, presenting my coach. You know, Coach, you ran 5 state meets. It took a Burnsville coach probably 20-some years to do what we did. And I got to meet one of the runners who could have made the 6th. And he went on to St. Thomas. I tried to get him to go, this is a true story, I tried to get him to go to Steep Ascension. He was rated 5th in the state at the time. He went to Pete Wilhelm. I called Pete Wilhelm. Pete Wilhelm gave him a walk-in scholarship. He became the #1 in their division that ran nationals that year. By the time he was a senior, as a walk-in scholarship. He came 50-something in this race. And the kids from Burnsville came up to me, and this one kid cried. I called Steve Placentia after the meet. He shook his head and said, no. I called Pete Wilhelm, and he said, send him over. And this runner that Robert Hoisington knows and Pete Wilhelm knows became a national champ after bombing out at a state meet. So these are some of the people that coaches have coached, that knows about, and other runners throughout the whole nation in the United States know about Robert Hoisington. Thank you for letting me present him.
I actually had designated Ken Spading, but I'm going to mention him later. You know, of all the awards that I ever got, this is #1 in my heart because it goes back to Pine Island. And when I was a teenager, and I grew up in the Depression. I was born in 1928. In the Depression, we didn't realize what we had, you know. So I'm going to try my best to try to keep my composure because this is a very emotional time for me. I've got my family here. Bob Jr. can't make it because his daughter got married today. Karen Hines, my oldest daughter, and Barbara, and our second oldest daughter. We're married to Tim Hansen. They're here. Lori and Craig Kelliston are here. Lori was our baby. And I might mention that My wife Jean wanted to have 4 kids in 5 years, and so Bobby was born in 55, and Lori was born in 60, so she got her 4 babies in that time. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the class of 46. Fred and Lorraine Spading are here. Fred, raise up your hand, will you, please? There they are. Fred was in my class of 46, and we played both offense and defense in football, and he was a big guy, and I'll tell you, when he tackled somebody, they felt it, and then they didn't run his way again. So if I was a halfback, I'd say, Fred, give me a lot of room to run, and he made sure that happened. So Fred is here, and his sweet wife Lorraine is here also. And Kenton Spading is their son, and I'm so proud of Kenton Spading because he's been such a success in his life. And I know he had a whole speech all prepared, and Kenton, I'm sorry, and I'll take you out for a meal and make up for that. So I might mention that when I played football, the helmets were soft leather then. Soft leather, and we had no face guard, So several times, this nose was over here on this cheek. Next time it was over on this cheek here. And we had a doctor, Dr. McCaig, who'd take 2 glass rods and straighten them out, put a piece of tape on, said, get back in the game, they need you. So, and needless to say, I had my bell rung quite a few times, but I'm still here alive at 88, and I've survived all those concussions, so to speak, so that's the name of the game. I'd like to recognize Patrick O'Regan and Carter Holmes. Carter Holmes was a wonderful runner from Washburn, and he told Patrick O'Regan, he said, can you write a story about Bob Hoisington? So Patrick did, and Patrick is a wonderful author, and he wrote it in Minnesota Running, and that story went out to a lot of people, so thank you for getting the ball started, Carter, and then Patrick O'Regan for taking the ball by the home. Now I'm in Southwest High School Hall of Fame, and now I'm here at Pine Island. That Southwest was last year, now I'm here at Pine Island. And word got out there to Bill Frame, and Bill Frame looked up in history, and he said, that's Hoisington. He did quite a bit, didn't he? But you realize we only had 3 sports in those days. Football, basketball, and baseball. We only had 3 sports. And then they say, well, how'd you get involved in track? Well, my baseball coach thought, he said, Bob, I watched you run. I know you run from Pine Island to your home, 6 miles away. And I said, I'd like to enter you in a race in Rochester. I said, what, really? He said, yeah, we're going to have a baseball game there, and put on your stuff, put on your, bring stuff along to run in. And so I did. I was playing first base and a cleanup hitter, and at the time they came that they're getting ready to run the mile, so I hustled over there, and lo and behold, I won the thing. And so that opened up the door. McAllister College says, we should try to get that guy to come over here to bat. And then in high school, what can I say? I did run in the state league, and in Jeff Renlund's book, The History of Track and Field and Cross Country, you should have that book. It's worth $100 or more. Because it covers all the track and field from the beginning. Only boys, though. He's doing another one for girls, but only for boys, till now. And Pine Island is in there a lot of times. So go buy that book. And I think Brennan, he coaches at Minnetonka High School, and get a hold of Brennan. Look him up and order that book from him. Kenny Carr has kind of spoke for himself. I've got Harold Hugland here, and Joshua is missing, his grandson. But Harold was one of my math students and one of my athletes, and played football. And Harold, hold up your hand now. Where are you sitting? There he is. and we've invited him to come here. So thank you, Harold, for all you've done. Now I'm looking at the Pine Island staff here, and Athletic Director Craig Anderson. I've never met a guy who's so efficient as Craig. I mean that sincerely. He dots all his I's and crosses his T's, and he's a detail artist. And last night at the football game, he lined up everybody. All the kids that were in the game came up with their parents, and they were announced. And all the cheerleaders were announced the same way. That's Craig. That's the way Craig does stuff, you know. And I just can't. I've adopted him as my son, another son, if you want to know the truth. But he and his family are just wonderful. I say he's a detail artist, and one thing that I learned, though, from talking with him, he was in Iowa. He graduated in Iowa, and got a job teaching at a school in Iowa. And he saw an opening in that Pine Island, and he said, "I think I'll fill that job." So he did. And how many years do you think he's been here? 40 years he coached baseball. Craig Anderson, yeah, what a guy. And I just can't say enough for him. And by the way, Craig, if any of my people pass away, there'll be a check in memory of that person that is going to Pine Island High School. So, and already you got Tony Stuckey and another runner who died last year. Okay, and there'll be more. You know, who knows what's going to happen to me? So, yeah. I can't say enough about Amy Northrup. What a wonderful person, work ethic, and she's been here 30. Am I right? 34 years.
Not quite that many.
More? About 20. Okay, 20. And then her husband, Matt, she has a cross-country job, and Bill Frame has the track head coach, and I think, Amy, you helped there too, don't you, with him? Yeah, you bet. And they're not very good, though. Second in the state. Did you see the trophy? Those two young men ran in the elite meet, and I was the referee at the elite meet. I called them over and took a picture of them. Did you see it out on the counter out there, those two boys? Wonderful young men. And thanks to the Northrups, they're going on their way. So, okay, I think that's about it. I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to take the time away from these other people who are going to be inducted there. We were all called out yesterday in the field at the football game, and they're just wonderful people, and I'm anxious to have you hear from them. So, thank you for having me here, sir. Friends forever, I'll tell you that.
Thanks, Robert. Okay. That we were supposed to, I should have introduced Ken Spading. Welcome him, please.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, I have a few things here I'd like to say in support of Robert Hoisington tonight. I'm going to talk to you about an athletic accomplishment that's happened that will never be repeated again in the state of Minnesota. And that is a man who's been inducted into 7 track and field Hall of Fames from a high school, Pine Island, that did not have a track and field team when he was in high school. So that's amazing in and of itself. As Bob already mentioned, he won the Rochester Invitational as a junior in high school, which then launched him on to going into other invitationals that were held at that time, and eventually to the state meet. all without this high school having a track and field team. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Bob was born to his mother, Lydia. And when Bob was 9 years old, his father went to heaven. So Bob was raised mostly by his mother from those years on, and his mother taught to him the work ethic that he still carries with him to this day. Bob started running in the first grade, running from his school, from his home to the Orinoco school, where he went from 1st to 8th grade, about a mile. And he would time it perfectly so that he knew he would sit down in his seat just when the bell rang. And he was always trying to beat the bell, right? So that's where he got his mile skills, and it was the mile that he won at the Rochester Invitational. Later, when he got in high school, it was 6 miles to school, and he ran a whole 6 miles to school many, many days, which again was building his running athleticism. Right out of high school, he lettered in football 4 years in a row, and was all-state honorable mention his senior year. He lettered in basketball 3 years in a row, and in baseball 4 years in a row. One of his proudest accomplishments was beating Cannon Falls his senior year 75-0 in football. Bob's an Army vet, served in the Army, taught high school in Windham, Minnesota, and eventually met his wife for 61 years there, Jean. He went on, after he got out of the service, he went on to teach high school at Central and Southwest high schools in Minneapolis, where he coached 7 high school teams and 36 individuals to state championships in track and field and cross country. Those are state championships. He was named Coach of the Year in the entire city of Minneapolis 7 times, and for the entire state of Minnesota 5 times. His teams at those schools won 22 Minneapolis City track and cross country championships, 22 of them. His most proud moment was the 1980 cross country championship, where he took an unranked team and took them all the way to the championship. Now let's look at some of the Hall of Fames that he's in. He's in the Minnesota Track Coaches Hall of Fame. He's in the Southwest High School Coach Hall of Fame. He's in the U.S. Track and Field Hall of Fame and has a Lifetime Contribution Award from them. He's in the Minnesota State High School Track and Cross Country Hall of Fame. He's in the McAllister College Athletics Hall of Fame. He's in the Carleton College Track and Field Hall of Fame. And from McAllister, he has an Outstanding Citizen Award, and he lettered in track and field there and was one of the top 7 half-milers in the state when he was at MAC. So as you can see, he's got quite an accomplishment, especially in track and field from a high school that did not have track and field. In closing, I'd like to say that he has a certificate of commendation from the governor of Minnesota for just generally being a good guy. He's got the Hometown Hero Award from the Ovarian Cancer Society for organizing and being a part of the 5K runs that they have in support of his wife, Jean, who died of ovarian cancer. But most of all, Bob is in a Hall of Fame that is the most important one, which is that of his mother and father's Hall of Fame. Both his mother and father are here tonight with us, and they're very, very proud of him. I know, Bob, your father was with you the whole time you were doing all these things, and of course your mother was very proud of you all through high school and college and a lot of the things that you did at the 2 high schools coaching. So to me, that's the most important Hall of Fame, is that of his mother and father. So you're really in 8 Hall of Fames, Bob. Thank you very much.
I forgot to mention Brenda Frame and her sweet daughter, all state and the pole ball. There you are. Thank you.
glad we invested that time so we could have that extra tribute to Robert. All right, this is going to be a fun time where we can get the Hall of Famers together. We'd like to have some group Hall of Fame pictures. And then you're certainly welcome to take these. We want to keep those out in the hallway for our student body so they can see not only you physically, but also read about your great accomplishments, because we will have the data that has been included in your Hall of Fame. So ladies and gentlemen, this does culminate our Hall of Fame activities for the night. After the photo session, we really appreciate that you are here, and we look forward in 2018 to add 5 more people to our Pine Island High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Thanks for being part of this. Have a great evening, and enjoy a beautiful fall weekend tomorrow night. The Packers and the Vikings go at it, so that'll give us all a little something to enjoy too in that new U.S. Bank Stadium. And I might add, thanks to Dave Stead and the associate directors, we will be playing our state championships at U.S. Bank Stadium for cross country, or not cross country, but soccer and football. So Viking tickets are not always available, but what a great opportunity to see some great athletes competing at a championship level on one of the great stadiums, not only in the nation, but maybe the world right now. And you'll have a chance to see it for only $14. Yeah, that's pretty special. So once again, thank you. Have a great night, and congratulations.